Real yapper.
Booning 57 times in a day is crazy, but Cartier putting up those numbers.
57 times in a day, my nigga's crazy, bro. His fucking
2011,
wiener's gonna fall off.
home on Winchester Avenue in Chicago quickly became the
I can hear it good, right?
scene of a nightmare. After trick-or-treating, a grown 55-year-old man fell into a fury with his partner after discovering that his bag of Hershey's candy was missing. He was convinced that the 49-year-old woman had taken it, and what started as a petty accusation quickly escalated into a heated argument. The shouting grew louder.
This nigga died over some candy?
In desperation, and perhaps in an effort to also protect herself, the 49-year-old woman hurled a plate at the man's head, striking him in the face and cutting above his eye. The injury, later visible in the mugshot taken of him, only stoked his anger further. With dripping down his face, the man reached for a kitchen knife, and consumed by rage, he lashed out in a frenzy, striking the woman multiple times.
Over some candy?
Neighbors later recalled hearing chaos and screams echoing from inside the home. Unsure as to whether or not the noises were Halloween decorations, police were eventually dispatched to
over
the
some
area.
candy?
When officers arrived, they found the woman gravely injured. She was rushed to Cook County Hospital, where she lingered in
Niggas, I want to be running back, boy. Geeez, Mafia University is over with. What are you talking about, bro?
Injuries proved fatal, and she later passed on November 5th. The man was arrested soon after and booked on felony charges.
That picture is actually hilarious.
As a trivial Halloween quarrel between two adults ended in one of the most brutal of ways. Costume malfunction.
Ooh, this one might be crazy.
At a thriving Halloween carnival, a 51-year-old man would step into the bustling streets dressed in a costume of burlap and straw, eager to join the thousands celebrating.
So he suffocated probably.
And music.
Had to, right?
But in a sudden, tragic turn, the man's night of festivity shifted into pure trauma. The man joined the crowd in an energetic dance, and in the midst of the excitement, he wanted to take a break and light a cigarette. In his attempt, the flame from his lighter caught the edge of his costume
shit,
hood,
never mind.
In an instant, his entire outfit ignited. Due to its material, the costume
this nigga set us off on fucking fire.
Difficult to put out and take off. The man would try ripping the costume off of his body, but
this nigga tried to light a cigarette with a fucking sack over his head. See, I be thinking some of you niggas in chat stupid, but nah. Niggas be real life stupid. He said, who is Nehemiah? He was on the team. I think he was like linebacker or some shit.
Its contents had already begun melting into his skin.
What the fuck?
They at first thought it was a prank or some sort of fire stunt woven into the Halloween event. It should be noted that most of them were heavily intoxicated, so their rationality and judgment skills were extremely impaired at the time. As the blaze spread violently, it swallowed him whole like a torch. His figure staggered into the mass of dancers engulfed in fire with his arms flailing in a desperate panic. People continued cheering. Individuals were so impressed by the
Goku was crazy.
They had begun to record the screaming victim.
No fucking way. They recorded this nigga on fire?
Music at the carnival did a few sober witnesses realize what was going on. They rushed in to help and tried to rip off the burning pants and jacket that were now clinging to his skin. People took water bottles from their backpacks and emptied it onto the blaze, while others in the crowd continued chanting, snapping pictures, and dancing.
Nah, see, Chad, don't drink. That's why you don't drink, bro. That's why you don't drink.
When the flames finally
dumbass niggas thought he was faking and shit, doing a stunt. Whole time this nigga is dying. That's crazy.
He was barely recognizable, despite being.
Yo, remember, because he be in the TikTok chat. He just got over to Twitch.
Rushed to the hospital, the man ultimately passed away from his wounds.
That's crazy. The Hello Kitty incident. Hey, a lot of bitches nowadays is going back to liking Hello Kitty. All them bitches is crazy. We about to see why they crazy.
A 23-year-old mother in Hong Kong would continue navigating her life in an environment tainted by hardship. She was an orphan as a child, and as she grew up, we watching
the most horrifying Halloween deaths ever.
Using substances and other things. She worked at a nightclub in one of Hong Kong's red light districts, Tsim Sha Tsui, where a 34-year-old mob boss
going for this 100 tonight. Should we finna see? There's no way I can watch, right?
Extremely dangerous, as he had a horrible temper and would often do cruel and unusual things to people who wronged him. One day, after the two met with each other, the mobster would accidentally forget his wallet at the venue. Upon seeing
I might watch another one.
4,000 Hong Kong dollars, the woman would secretly steal it to help her own financial situation for herself and her son. The mob boss found out, and out of fear of what he'd do to her, she immediately returned the money back to him. However, he wasn't satisfied. He demanded that she pay
Man, if my kid ever asked about my 2025 GMO season, I might cry, bro. I was the best WR every GMO TBH.
Nah, you was probably second.
To him as an interest fee for her thievery. Obviously, she couldn't meet those requests. On a calm night, as the woman made her way into her apartment after her shift, she'd hear knocks at her door. It would be 3 members of the Triad gang and a young girl who claimed that they wanted to settle the dispute with a more reasonable fee. Also, side note,
Number
the young
one.
girl seen here
Oh, you
is
are number
actually
one
the
now. You
mob
passed my
boss.
nigga gift. My nigga passed to give you pasty. Hey, congrats, bro. My dog number one at all-time top
It's that
gifters.
Cartier willingly
Shout out
bought
my
a sub
dog.
instead of him getting out of school and seeing the 8.55 taken out of his account, right, Geez?
Yo.
Girlfriend.
Joe, bro.
Remember how I said he's 34? Well, she's 20 years younger than that. Just,
What the fuck?
Anyways, as soon as the woman opened up the door, they ripped her out of her apartment
Oh my
and drove
gosh.
her to a rundown flat on Granville Road in Kowloon. It was there that her final horrific month of torture began. Her
Damn.
captors beat her with pipes, suspended her in the air with wires, burned her with wax and plastic, and rubbed peppery spices into her wounds. Each day blurred into the next. It was a cycle of torment designed not only to punish her, but to strip away at her humanity. Neighbors heard nothing beyond the walls, but within them, suffering was routine. After nearly a month of agony, her body could no longer endure the mistreatment, and she would pass away from the monstrous acts of the gang. Upon realization, the mob boss had his men disposing of her remains in bags and pieces to clear themselves of any evidence. However, in a grotesque and cruel twist, the boss would have her skull boiled clean, polished
What?
and preserved, and then stitched into his girlfriend's Hello Kitty plush.
What?
You did it, Cartier number one. Congrats. This is the same as Braun. We hit 40,000 points.
I guess. Nigga, what? Nigga, what? So how did they find out that they did all this?
Actually,
I'm assuming you probably
I don't
told him.
really
I don't even know.
feel comfortable considering her his girlfriend. I mean, the man's quite literally old enough to be her father. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, night after night, the young girl would be faced with the doll as she lived with the mob boss, and he kept it in the flat they were living in. She wouldn't be able to escape the sight
25.
of the toy, and as time went on, it began haunting her. She'd start seeing hallucinations and apparitions of the woman's ghost.
That's
Spirit
crazy.
would follow her every day, weeping dreadfully. It'd stand by the corner of her bed, staring at her every night, and if the girl ever fell asleep, it'd show up in her dreams as well, and turn them into nightmares. In her words, she said that it kept haunting her while demanding justice. It got so bad that the girl developed insomnia, and for weeks,
She hunted the
barely
wrong
eat
person.
or
Hunted that
sleep.
fucking the dad,
Eventually,
nigga.
she broke. She ran to a nearby department, and reports from the Kowloon police station say that she turned up at the building shaking violently. As mentioned from witnesses, rather than her saying that she has a crime she needs to confess, the first words that left her mouth were something around the lines of, "I keep seeing her. I can't sleep. Please, she won't stop crying. She won't leave me alone." She was literally traumatized. The girl told police absolutely everything they needed to know, and officials set out to arrest everyone who was involved. The 3 men. Actually, they don't really deserve to be called that. The 3 criminals were all sentenced to life in prison with a 20-year minimum before parole. The young girl was placed in protective custody, and after the trial, it was noted that she was seeing the ghost less. However, she'd still go on to experience nightmares and auditory hallucinations of the woman weeping. The last thing that was heard of her before she was relocated with an identity change was that she was being given psychological treatment and correctional therapy. These aren't just horror stories, they're real events. And they're all so wrong, in so many ways. Halloween is meant to be scary in a fun manner, not in a cruel and dangerous one.
Hey, no, that shit was
Until
crazy.
that happens,
I wouldn't lie.
make sure to
That
group
last
up,
story was
stay
fucking
close,
insane.